you said, the timing of this attack is also very interestingly playing out because Vladimir Putin has just won an election with a landslide, percentage of votes. Uh, Also considering the fact that one of his champion causes during this election campaign was ensuring national security. Do you think this is also something done to undermine his victory and probably, as Russian authorities are claiming, has the external hand of Ukraine?
Uh, at the moment, it's difficult to say, but yes, all indicators seem to be like that. That indications seem to be like that there could be an external hand in all this. And of course, as Patikrit said, there is this element of animosity and revenge in the ISIS Khorasan for the 2015 attacks on their cadre and on their people in Syria. So therefore, definitely that element is there. But the timing, yes, it does seem to be to send a message to Putin that you won, that Ukraine war is going on, and they also must have gauged that maybe they're not so alert right now because their attention is towards the Ukraine war, and I think that's what has happened now. And yes, it is a message to say that he's not fully in control, and see how easily the security has been breached. I think it is a messaging also to President Putin, and it is very unfortunate the way it has been, the number of people who have been killed. And it's again, something which they're innocent civilians. They have nothing to do with the war or with Ukraine or with anyone, and they are targeted. And so as they call it, these are the standers by who are there, and they've just been eliminated by the ISIS, which is absolutely a terrorist organization.
Yeah. Ambassador Said, can I also ask you then?
Yeah.
The fact that United States says that we did share intel with Russia about a month back that such a planned attack could be probable, and then to see such a huge intelligence failure, what does it say about Russia's own, security arrangements, security apparatus that could not preempt this sort of a terror attack?
I think what happens in such cases, what happens is while intelligence has been shared, there is no, they cannot see any concrete sometimes indications, and so that is why they tend to the security agencies of any country, when these terror attacks take place, they are unable to preempt them because though some information is available, it's not very concrete. It's not very specific where and when and what. In a huge country like, or even if you look at Moscow, where will it be? Which concert hall? So it becomes a little difficult to take absolute preventive measures. But yes, I do agree with you that the Russian security has goofed up, should I say, on this, and they could have at least preempted or at least not allowed this huge scale with so many 11 gunmen and others entering and killing indiscriminately. The security around such areas should have all been, at all concert halls, should have been a little more stricter and more screening of individuals entering the concert hall, especially when some intelligence had already been shared with them. They should have definitely been more alert and more security conscious, I think. Sure.
Yeah. Patikrit, ISIS Khorasan was formed back in 2015, but it hasn't been able to sort of establish itself, or probably its, dominance has been reducing since the past few years due to, US military action, the Afghan commandos, the Afghan Taliban, all of these factors reducing its significance in the region. Do you also think that this could also be perhaps one of the ways through which it is trying to redeem itself in the region and otherwise moving out of the region where it was born?
Absolutely, Shreya. Spectacular attacks which gets amplified, world over does actually give them a lot of traction. The predicament for Russia is this: if they have to do any retaliatory attack, and generally Russians are very ruthless when it comes to taking revenge. Where would they attack back the ISIS Khorasan, ISIS-K? Because it is scattered across. It is no more concentrated in a particular place. And mostly, if you look at how ISIS operates today, after their defeat in Syria, they asked their affiliates and members to go back to their respective countries, get their informations virtually, and then use the lone wolf method to do the attacks. So yes, it definitely, it's like, see, there are competition among terror organizations also in terms of having the domination in terms of which is much more powerful. So it is always an Al-Qaeda versus ISIS or other organizations. For Russia, the question is, what do they do next? They have to do something spectacular similarly to show that we are invincible beyond a point. Now, they cannot attack Middle East, and if they do so, it's some in particular place. That means Russia will be dragged into this entire mess of Middle East, which is a quagmire today, which is a bottomless pit. So that's why I believe, Shreya, it is not just a one-off attack with no linkage to Ukraine or Middle East, with no linkage to other countries, which were feeling frustrated that they haven't been able to take its pound on Putin, and Putin remains invincible. Bottom line is this, Shreya, yes, it gives traction to ISIS, and the question for Russia is, if they have to hit back, where would they hit? Last thing, if you look at the intelligence input, it was generic in nature, and for a country which is completely committed to a war, sometimes they become a little lax when it comes to taking care of the hinterland. Moscow is far more secure as per their presumption, and yes, it has been broken. So what happens next? It's a question mark.
That can't be an excuse, Pathikrit, isn't it? That can't be an excuse that we're involved in a war, so we sort of didn't pay attention to the other nitty-gritties that have been coming in.
Agree, Shreya. You are right about it. I am not denying it, but that's how things generally happen. In spite of your best intentions, sometimes you fail because you are overcommitted somewhere else. I do not deny that it is a failure. Back to you, Shreya.